So thanks for being here. I'm Teresa Marstead, the Director of Strategic Communications for Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, and we appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for coming out today. Just want to let you know who is present today and also who you'll be able to ask some questions of should you need some clarification on anything that we're going to be talking about. In addition to hearing from the mayor today, you're going to hear from Christine Bonero. Many of you already know Christine. She is the president and CEO of Mile High United Way. Our executive director of our Office of Economic Development, Eric Haraga, is here as well, as is our executive director of Denver Human Services, Don Mares. But we're going to start with Mayor Hancock.
Thank you, Teresa, and I want to thank our partners for being here, particularly Christine Bonero, who is just a powerful, very strategic partner, long-term partner of the city of Denver, and to members of my cabinet who are here as well for this important announcement. We now are entering into, I think, the 24th day, historic, record-breaking shutdown of our federal government. It's the fourth week, the longest in our history as a nation. 800,000 employees across this nation are being impacted by the shutdown, as you all already know. And I certainly understand about the choices and the uncertainty that they are facing as part of this unprecedented shutdown. My mother, who was a state employee, had we missed one check, it would have been absolutely devastating to my family. And so I certainly understand and feel the pain that federal employees are feeling today. Here in the city of Denver, we just made a decision that we're going to do everything we can to help our neighbors, our friends, our family members who work for the federal government. And while we try to withstand really the embarrassment and disappointment that our federal employees are being used as political pawns. So we're stepping up to support our federal employees where we can. We're announcing support for furloughed workers and those affected by the shutdown, struggling to make ends meet. Our new temporary mortgage assistance program will offer financial assistance to homeowners who are facing hardship due to unexpected changes in their employment status. The program being offered through a partnership with Mile High United Way's 211 call center. It will provide households up to 2 months or $5,000 to help cover mortgage payments. The program will begin accepting applications this week on Wednesday, January 16th, through the Mile High United Way's 211 call center. Furloughed federal employees and those affected by the shutdown in Denver may also take advantage of the city's existing temporary rental and utility assistance program, better known as TRUA. It offers up to 6 months of rent assistance and up to $1,000 in utility payments for renters or homeowners who qualify. Also here today, as has been introduced, is Don Mares, Executive Director of Denver Human Services. They have extended their Monday lobby hours to 7 p.m. tonight. DHS will open at 7 a.m. on tomorrow, Tuesday, to support SNAP recipients impacted by the federal government shutdown to give them more time to meet a noon deadline. DHS will also host a resource fair on Saturday from 9 until 1 p.m. at the Sun Valley in East Denver locations for people who are in need of support. Resources include eviction assistance, rental, mortgage, and utility assistance, food bank and other food resources, and help with other essential goods. I'm going to bring up Christine Bonero, who will talk about the role that United Way's 211 call center will play, and then we will hear from Eric Haraga, whose Office of Economic Development will really be the implementers of this effort in partnership with United Way, and then bring up Don Mares to talk about the role Denver Human Services will play. Christine?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Christine Bonero, and I have the privilege of serving as the president and CEO of Mile High United Way. Incredibly proud to live in a city that, at a time when our community needs us the most, unites together. There is a reason that the very first United Way started right here in Denver, Colorado. And Mr. Mayor, you are showing once again how proud we are to partner with you. 211 is a free and confidential call center that you may call for help. And we are very proud to begin this new program with the City and County of Denver beginning on Wednesday. You may call 211 or you may text 211 to begin to get information. But 211 is a service that has been here for the past decade. We have resources across the board on rental assistance, utility assistance. We recognize this is a very frightening time for families, even more so. Last year, 211 at Mile High United Way took 78,000 phone calls, but we are incredibly proud to be able to partner with the city, with the Office of Economic Development, and with the Department of Human Services, and most importantly, this mayor, to be there for families that need us most. Thank you for the opportunity to serve, and again, this program will go into effect by calling 211 on Wednesday, where we will begin accepting applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you for being an important and strategic partner for the Office of Economic Development. Really, when we looked at the conditions of what's going on in Washington and needing to provide more assistance to our federal workers in the region, Mile High United Way quickly stepped up and worked with our office to really get this important program and these services out to our residents. In terms of this program, the Temporary Mortgage Assistance Program, it really is part of our 5-year housing plan, our strategic plan, really to help stabilize residents at risk of involuntary displacement. In addition, helping residents maintain their existing housing. That is who we are focusing on. There are two main areas which we are focusing on. One is really the existing temporary rental utility assistance program. As many of you know, this is an existing program that helps with rent assistance in addition to helping with utility payments for both residents and homeowners. But what we are doing now is really going forward. We filed last week to expand the program and add another $2 million to that budget. And it's coming just in time as federal workers have missed their last paycheck on Friday, and come February 1st, they'll need to make their rental payments. The second product is one which is new, the Temporary Mortgage Assistance Program. That is available for Denver homeowner residents, owner-occupied homes, and really available to moderate income families, up to 120% of AMI. So that's about $75,600 for a single person household, and $107,880 for a household of 4. And really, these are for households that are experiencing hardship, whether it's through a furlough, temporary layoff, or significant reduction of hours. And these programs, like I said, are coming just at the right time as the last paychecks went out last Friday, and people will need assistance immediately. And as the mayor mentioned, this program will begin taking applications on Wednesday. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Let me start by saying how proud I am to work for a mayor and for a city that cares this much for the people who are in need. Let me start with the most urgent request, and maybe request of the media to get the word out. There are our state partners have set up a system where folks will be able to get their February SNAP benefits now, as opposed to having to wait for the normal time, because if they wait for the normal time because of the shutdown of the government, they may not have those benefits. So. That is there's a noon deadline tomorrow. There's about 4,000 folks in Denver who still need to come in and sign up. These are folks who are already on SNAP benefits who need to re-up for their benefits. So if you're hearing this message, be sure to come down to Human Services. Again, we're open till 7 today, or come in by noon tomorrow. We're open 7 in the morning, and sign up for those benefits for February. They are really an advance, if you will, on their food stamp benefits, SNAP benefits. Secondly, we really pride ourselves on being there for folks who are in need. And my heavens, this is a population that really is in need. And so this Saturday, we're going to have those 2 fairs at our main office on Federal and Sun Valley on Federal and 12th, and our east office on Steel Street and 38th. And at those fairs, we're not only bringing together partners to talk about how they can access food and all kinds of other resources, but our own department will be there to answer all the complex questions about, am I eligible for TANF benefits or more SNAP benefits if you've never been on, or our general assistance programs, which have everything from not only rental assistance but burial services. I mean, we have a panoply of services that we can help people with if they're in need during this really really frightful and very tenuous time in their lives. So happy to be there, Mayor, and thank you again for showing the leadership around this.
Thanks, Don. Let me say two things as we close and we open up for question and answer. First of all, last Tuesday, while watching the news, and what appeared to me through the news stories that this shutdown was not going to end anytime soon, I shot a note to Eric Haraga and said, what can we do to help our neighbors who are federal employees? And I want to thank Eric. I want to thank Christine and Don and the teams and their various agencies and organizations for working throughout the week. We pretty much had this program ready to go by Friday of last week. We crossed some T's and dotted some I's over the weekend, and so I want to just thank you and your teams for the tremendous work in pulling this together at such a short notice. But with the compassion, and this is to my final note, with the compassion and empathy toward our neighbors who happen to be federal employees. And as the city of Denver steps up, make no mistake that we don't end the very bold and strong clarion call to the federal government, to the president and Congress, to end this shutdown as quickly as possible and put our federal neighbors back to work and begin earnest and thoughtful and strategic conversations around protecting our border. That's the only appropriate and proper steps at this point in time. Too many people, innocent people, are being hurt by this. And as elected officials, you are sworn to protect and to uphold really the safety and well-being of all residents and citizens of this nation. And we're calling for you to end this shutdown now, because it is getting to a point where families are being disrupted and possibly irreparably harmed because they miss a rental or mortgage payment. And that is just absolutely unacceptable and senseless. And so with that, I'm going to stop and open up for Q&A. Jerry.
The money for the mortgage assistance, is that a loan? Is it handing somebody a check? How is it?
Yes, there's been a lot of questions around this topic. At the moment, we're discussing that it is just assistance. It is not a repayable loan. We realize that people, despite this program covering their principal and interest only, have other expenses, whether they're HOA dues, property taxes, their car loan, their credit cards. So at this point, it is not a loan.
If I can just follow up on that. At some point, those employees are going to get reimbursed for the month, the 2 months. So they don't have to pay anything then?
That was contemplated as well, and we don't know that. In some cases, they will get a full paycheck. In some circumstances, history says it's not quite 100% of that paycheck.
Is there income restrictions on this?
Yes, the income restriction level on the mortgage assistance program is 120% of average median income. So again, that's $107,000, $880 for a household of 4 people.
And the mayor was saying earlier that you're seeing the impact already. Can you explain what you're seeing? What kind of affecting?
Well, we've certainly got a rise in calls. I think that our temporary rental utility assistance program has been very popular, serving over 1,000 residents, and so we expect an uptick to that. So both to our 311 call center, but as I understand, Mile High United Way has received a number of calls to their 211 system.
Yeah, Christine may want to comment on that.
Sure. We are seeing the same thing. I think it's the uncertainty that it's creating for our families as well. So the 211 call center, in addition to this program, has a whole host of resources, from utility assistance to food programs to whatever families are in need of. But just anecdotally this morning, we saw an uptick in our phone calls as families are facing for the first time that they didn't receive their paycheck on Friday.
What is the overall pool of money on that mortgage assistance?
Yes.
And how do we think it's going to break out based on the number of employees we have?
Yeah, so $485,000 is the current contract amount. We believe that'll help about 225, maybe 240 homes.
And that's just for this new program?
No, this is actually, we are targeting and marketing for federal workers, but if you actually go through the process and qualify under the different criteria, prove that you're a Denver resident, prove your income statements, and that you do have a financial hardship, you can qualify. You'll have to work with our offices.
So there's no extra money being set aside for this federal program?
It's the same dollars, $485,000 for the initial outlay.
So this is for those who've become unemployed or had a disruption in their employment, which would be available to them anyway. And so this is more or less a clarion call or notice to all federal employees in Denver who may have a challenge. Now, let me share this because I think it's an important point. On Saturday during the Cabinet and Community meeting, I did have some conversation with some federal employees who happened to be in the audience one-on-one, and I told them about what we were going to be announcing today. Now, those federal employees who were there that I talked to, there were two sets of couples. They said, we have savings, so we'll get through it, but they appreciated that we were doing it. So they wouldn't immediately step up to be recipients of this program. So this is for those federal employees who, but for their check that they receive from the federal government, would not be making their mortgage or rental payments. We want to make sure we can help serve and fill the gap for them during this time. If you have insufficient savings and ability to get through it, let's allow the city to take care of those who do not and who may need immediate assistance at this point in time. Maybe one or two more questions? Let me thank you all for being here.